All right.
I don't know about all of you guys, but as a child, when I grew up, I'd walk around my house and I'd act like I knew everything. Anything my dad told me, don't worry, Dad, I already know. I know how to do this, I know how to do that. So pretty much everything he told me was in one ear and out the other. And it wasn't until I started growing up to where I realized everything he said, was right, and he actually was a pretty smart man. So why I really agree with what Wadsworth says, by the time a man realizes that maybe his father was right, he usually has a son who thinks he's wrong. And there's two main aspects in my life where my dad really was, persistent on making sure I made the right choice, and that was involving the type of friends I chose and sports. Always, ever since I just remember as a kid and up until like high school, my dad would just write me like, why do you hang out with that kid? Constantly would always ask me, why do you hang out with them? Why do you hang out with them? And I never really had a good enough answer. I would just, because they're my friend, because they're this, because they're that. Even though like half of the friends I hung out with in high school would get suspended and were really involved with drugs and stuff like that. And it wasn't until about college where I realized, I should have listened to my father. And, it involves that. But in sports, as a whole nother situation, I just literally remember my dad every Saturday and Sunday waking me up at 6 in the morning just to go run with him. And just to get a workout in, constantly writing me, if you want to be great, you gotta work hard, you gotta practice how you play, you gotta work hard every day. And I would just, it almost made me not ever want to play baseball again just because how much he rode me. And I would just tell him, like, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know, like, I'm fine, I'm good enough how I am when, I was just, big-headed and ill-minded. But I really now, as I look back on it, I realize that I don't want to make the same mistake with my son, and I don't want him to think that I'm wrong. So I really want to make a change in asking him how he feels about certain things, and just making sure there's not the distance that my father and I had with one another, and just to constantly grow in a relationship with him. But I will definitely, till this day, I give my dad a lot of credit and raising me, because he did a pretty good job, I think. And that's my speech. Better than the practice.
Yeah. Be comfort. I didn't say I'm lying.
I was out there, I was pushing myself to do words and get it at the same time. I'm going to do really, really best, or I'm going to go do the best I could ever do in my life. Well, the tracking is keeping my I was looking at the window, the class was like, I guess watching movies, and I was like, oh shit. Just there. Just so. I just went out there, I saw the first one, and I was like, I guess that's the one I'm going to do. And I just started walking.
Dude, I was so nervous, like, outside of there. Okay, I know what college it is.
Why is it bullshit?
I thought you said you're going to say
like you wanted to make sure it wasn't a person, so it made good conscience.
Yeah, well,
That's outstanding.
Alright, okay.
That's
So I was there.
outstanding. That's not.
I don't want it to be ended up like agreeing with some, philosopher and all that. I'm like, oh, what?
He told me to go in.
Oh,
I said, do I go in?
He drove you hard.
Oh.
Now you know what room temperature feels like.
It's giving it a lot of
That was amazing.
That was fun.
That was a good film.
I bet you that's gonna play something in turn.
I got counted. I like it.
Oh, word.
The one I got the one you had.
We'll meet after class.
Last time I was here, those same three quotes.
Those same three ones? Oh, they need to recycle them.
I was like,
All right, well, you've got a good personal example that you start off with, and I think that you have a good way of coming to the point that you're trying to make at the speech with the thesis. I do think you could use a little bit more structure at the beginning. There were a couple of good examples in the presentation that you talked about. The nice thing is, because they're personal examples, they allow you to be a little bit more naturalistic when you're talking to us, and that always helps. Your voice comes across effectively as a result. You sound smooth. You have good emotional range in your voice while you're talking to us. It's easy to hear us. for us to hear you. So when you are speaking to us and you're talking about yourself and personal experience, I think it gives you a great deal of confidence at the beginning of the speech. The one thing that's undercutting the confidence at the beginning of the speech are your feet. You've got nervous feet. You're stepping forward, stepping back, stepping to the side, and that's where all your anxiety is coming out there. So you get a little bit more control over that, and I think you'll be in better shape. The eye contact with the audience was pretty solid. You have a tendency to look down, but it's not. You're contemplating. It's not like you're avoiding people, because you do look at people, and I noticed that you especially looked over there. I don't know if you were avoiding people on this side, maybe that's what's going on, but you tend to focus a little bit more over there. And when you looked away, it wasn't like I'm afraid of you or anything. It's like, I'm just trying to think of the next thing that I'm talking about. Don't want to do that too long, but like I said, usually you looked up, and I thought your facial expressions were also very naturalistic while you were speaking to us as well. All right, thank you.